Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more details videos. Coco Gauff makes honest Chris Evert admission while revealing her true role models. Last year, during an interview, Coco Gauff spoke about how Venus and Serena Williams made a difference to her at the start of her burgeoning tennis career. She has time and again credited the Williams sisters for creating the love and passion for the sport inside her. From seeing them lift titles on the TV screen to clinching the same big titles in her professional career, Gauff has come a long way, and so has American women's tennis in general. This year, we've seen plenty of American women's stars, including Gauff and Keys, doing wonders at the major events, and guess what? Currently, there are 5 American women in the top 11 of the singles ranking. What's the secret to this rapid success over the past couple of years, specifically? Previously, we heard Gauff speak about watching Venus Williams play at the U.S. Open, along with her dad, from the second row at the iconic Arthur Ashe Stadium, highlighting that unforgettable moment of watching her idol from such a close distance made her say, "That's what pushes me to keep going. Just because the sport is predominantly white, you believe you can do that passion when you see somebody that looks like you being successful." She now hopes to be that belief for somebody else. The 21-year-old Coco Gauff is now not only ranked second in the world, but she has already won 2 major titles in her career, with the latest coming this year at the 2025 French Open. She's now all set to start her campaign at the North American Hardcourt Swing in Montreal. But before that, she was asked to speak a little bit about the main factors behind the recent surge in American women's tennis. In reply to this, Gauff said, I guess if we go like long-term effect, for sure the Williams sisters, and making tennis, I feel like a more popular sport for people to play in the U.S. Having said that, she also mentioned, obviously, we have great icons like Chris Evert and Lindsay Davenport, but I didn't grow up watching them, and I don't know if a lot of the players, right now in the top 10, grew up watching them. Gauff also spoke about how tennis has become a very popular sport among women in the U.S. Other than drawing motivation from these tennis greats, what else has led to this recent rise in American women's tennis? Replying to this, Coco Gauff admitted that seeing one person do well made others step up as well. I think you see one person do well, and you've probably beaten them in a practice set once in a time ago, and you're like, okay, if they made a Grand Slam final, then I can too. And I think that's what we have, the camaraderie amongst us, said Gauff. Other than their strong camaraderie, she also spoke about how they root for each other, practice with each other, and help elevate each other's game in various ways. So, the secret to the recent success is more of a combination of all of these, and Coco Gauff feels great to see American tennis doing well on both sides, but especially on the women's side. In the swirling spotlight of international tennis, few names have risen as meteorically and meaningfully as Coco Gauff. At just 20 years old, she has captivated the world, not only for her blistering serves and tactical prowess, but also for her humility, intellect, and thoughtful honesty. It was during a recent press conference ahead of the Canadian Open that Gauff dropped a revelation that both surprised and endeared her further to fans. While many assumed that legends like Serena Williams or Venus Williams were her singular inspirations, Gauff made an unexpected, heartfelt admission about another American tennis icon, Chris Evert. I didn't understand Chris Evert's greatness until I needed it. In her own words, Coco confessed, to be honest, when I was younger, I didn't fully appreciate Chris Evert. I knew her as a name, a legend, but not as a person. It wasn't until I struggled with expectations and consistency that I started watching her matches and listening to her interviews. And that's when it clicked. Chris wasn't just a great champion. She was the kind of champion I want to be. The honesty in Gauff's admission echoed a sentiment many rising stars quietly harbor, a deepening understanding of greatness as they themselves evolve through triumphs, trials, and the unrelenting pressure of fame. Gauff's appreciation for Evert came not just from highlight reels or stat sheets, but from a more mature lens, one shaped by her own journey. Chris Evert, the champion of consistency and composure. Chris Evert, known for her steely mental strength and surgical baseline game, dominated the tennis world in the 1970s and early 1980s. She amassed 18 Grand Slam singles titles and maintained the best winning percentage in the history of open-era tennis, male or female. But beyond numbers, Evert's aura came from her unwavering composure. Where others showed nerves, Evert showed poise. Where others flamed out, she adapted and returned. And it is exactly this aspect of Evert that Gauff finds herself clinging to. What I admire most about Chris, Coco elaborated, is how she never let the noise around her dictate how she played. I've had moments where the crowd, the media, the pressure, it all felt loud. But watching Chris play, and hearing how she handled her own era of expectations, it's a reminder that calm is power. In a world where social media can amplify a bad match into a trending topic within minutes, Gauff's recognition of Evert's mental game is both a nod to the past and a roadmap for the future. The real role models, beyond the obvious. While her revelation about Chris Evert made headlines, Coco Gauff also took the opportunity to set the record straight about who her true role models are, on and off the court. I've always looked up to Serena and Venus Williams, and that will never change, she clarified. They showed me it was possible. But when people ask who inspires me, it's not just the big names. It's my mom, my dad, Billie Jean King, Naomi Osaka for her courage, and lately, it's been Allyson Felix, the sprinter. This range of role models paints a more holistic picture of Gauff, not just as a tennis prodigy, but as a young woman shaping her values. Serena and Venus gave her the image of strength and possibility. Billie Jean King stands for equality, advocacy, and transformation. Naomi Osaka, a fellow young star, inspires her with honesty about mental health. Allyson Felix, the most decorated U.S. track athlete, inspires her with resilience and grace in motherhood and advocacy. I don't just want to win, Gauff said. I want to matter. I want to use this platform to say something meaningful, to inspire, to stand up for what I believe in. A role model in her own right. What's ironic and beautiful is that while Coco Gauff is out here naming her role models, millions around the world now name her as theirs. From young black girls picking up a tennis racket for the first time to teenage athletes juggling identity and ambition, Gauff is already playing the role that Evert, Serena, and others played for her. At just 20, she's already won a Grand Slam, 2023 U.S. Open, been to multiple finals, and cracked the WTA Top 5. But more than her stats, it's her sense of responsibility that resonates most. Being a role model doesn't mean being perfect. It means being real. I've cried after matches. I've had moments of doubt. But I've also learned and I've grown. A meeting of generations. Interestingly, the bond between Coco and Chris Evert is not just philosophical. It's increasingly personal. Evert has taken an active role in supporting Gauff's journey, often analyzing her matches, offering advice, and publicly rooting for her. In a recent interview, Evert remarked, "Coco has the athleticism of a superstar. But what impresses me most is her maturity. She listens. She wants to get better. That's what separates a good player from a great one." For Gauff, such words mean more than any trophy. To hear someone like Chris say that about me, it's surreal. It's an honor. But it also fuels me. Because I want to be worthy of that belief. The evolution of Coco. Coco Gauff's story is still unfolding, but it's already one of evolution. From the 15-year-old sensation who stunned Venus at Wimbledon to the seasoned young woman rethinking role models and reevaluating greatness, Gauff's trajectory is one of continual growth. She has learned to master her emotions, sharpen her tactical game, and carry herself with dignity. But perhaps her most profound evolution is happening off-court, in how she understands legacy. Winning matches is amazing, but if all I do is win and don't help anyone else along the way, then what was the point? This is where Chris Evert's shadow looms again, not just as a player, but as a legacy builder. Much like Evert, Gauff seems destined to inspire not just by lifting trophies, but by lifting others. Looking ahead, as the Canadian Open unfolds and the U.S. Open looms on the horizon, all eyes are on Coco. But her gaze seems fixed on something far beyond the next match. She's chasing a dream, but also crafting a narrative. One of gratitude, learning, humility, and power. In the clash of generations, she draws strength from the past and writes boldly into the future. If a kid watches me the way I watch Serena and finds their reason to believe in themselves, then I've already won. In the end, Coco Gauff's true role model may not be a person at all. It may be a principle, to be authentically great. And as she continues her ascent, there's little doubt she's becoming exactly the kind of champion Chris Evert would be proud of. Epilogue from fan to fellow icon. In the quiet moments after her admission, Coco Gauff smiled when asked what she would say if she could write a letter to Chris Evert. She thought for a moment, then said, "Dear Chris, I didn't fully understand you when I was younger, but now I do. Thank you for being the calm in a storm. Thank you for showing us that grace can be just as powerful as grit. I hope to carry your legacy forward, with my own voice, my own fire, and with the same calm heart." As the press room sat in reverent silence, it was clear. Coco Gauff may still be rising, but her message, her mindset, and her mission are already legendary.